What's up, guys? Dual Coast Podcast, April 22nd. It is 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got Russ over there on the West Coast at 5:30 a.m. Pacific Time. Joined by special guest this morning, guys, Dan the Man Flores. Dan, how you doing this morning, my man?
Good, brother. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.
Welcome, Dan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us,
We
man.
got the double Dans today.
That's right.
Yeah.
Feeling good. Feeling good. He's looking sharp today over there, isn't he, Russ?
I'm telling you, I cannot stand up to that guy. Look at that.
And Russ is wearing shorts, so he can't stand up at all.
Yeah. Russ, you should have wore your purple suit, your purple jacket.
I thought about it, and I got my Willy Wonka hat too. That would have worked out.
Yeah.
Dan, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Dan, tell us a little bit about what you do, man. A little bit about, motivational speaking. Tell us a little bit about yourself real quick.
Yeah, no, of course. I'm first and foremost, I'm an online coach that, I help men and women pretty much work on their self-mastery and kind of build the ultimate life for themselves. We focus a lot on fitness, mindset, relationship habits, basically everything that deals with self-mastery. I am also a public speaker, as you mentioned, right? I believe we all spoke on the same event actually back in Missouri. So, I'm a motivational speaker. I'm very big on social media too. So anyone who wants to follow me on social media as well. And then I work with clients in person. So I work with people online and I work with people in person. So just change your lives.
That's awesome, man. That's great.
Dude.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's awesome. And how long have you been involved in this?
Yeah. The online coaching thing maybe about 2 years or so, 2.5 years. The in-person coaching about 6 months.
Right on, man.
Got you.
So yeah, it's cool, man. It's a good journey.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey,
go ahead.
What do you got, Russ? What do you got?
I was going to say, you're a part of a warrior program, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And share with us a little bit about how you got involved, and how is that impacting your life, and how is that impacting other people's lives through the warrior program?
Yeah, of course. So before I actually created the Warrior Program, I was mentored by, because right now I'm a mentor, but I was once a mentee, right? So I once had to become the student, right? So I mentor with a lot of good guys who helped me in the very same thing that I'm helping others right now. At the time, I wasn't ready to be a coach. I wasn't ready to, show people to build their fitness or their nutrition or to build a strong, unshakable mindset. And then through my own personal journey, as I started to apply this stuff into my life and I started seeing success in it, I started to build the Warrior Lifestyle Group, which focuses again on self-mastery for anyone who wants to elevate in all areas of their lives, right? We have your family, your relationships, work, personal level, mental level, emotional level. So we hit it from really all angles. And the way it changed my life is because first and foremost, it built a ton of discipline in me, to be able to show up every single day. I was never that type of person growing up, to live up to his responsibilities. And, I was that kid that always used to be in his room playing video games all day. Right. And now all I want to do is just go out there and change the world. So the number one thing that has done for me is built a lot of confidence in me, discipline, confidence. My energy is higher, right? My frequency is higher. And of course, I get to share that energy with guys like you, right, who are also impacting the world in your own way. And I want to be able to take that and be able to help other people feel that way as well, right? I saw what my coaches did for me, and I want to be able to do that for other people as well.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah. Hey, Dan, if you don't mind, Dan Flores. Well, let me, off of that, something that you said in there is unshakable mindset. Now,
right.
You have not always been a super fit guy, but
correct.
Recently, and I don't know how long, but you are up before the break of dawn. And I know that. I know Dan knows that, but people that are following don't maybe not know that, right?
Right.
So, you're in the gym super early in the morning. Unshakable mindset. How does that relate, and how does that relate to other people in terms of your message that you're trying to get inside of them?
Yeah. So the reason why I get up so early is because I literally have the mindset that I want to extract as many hours from the day as possible. Right. I have one life to live. right? Now, although rest is very important, I don't advocate for 4 hours to sleep, right? I'm not telling people to do that, but I know what my purpose is. I know the amount of effort I have to put in, and I know that if I got up at 11 o'clock in the morning every single day, I would probably get nothing done, right? So
Yeah.
the reason I love waking up early in the morning is because it starts my day off on the right note. Like there's nothing more powerful than being able to wake up before the sun comes up, and it's like there's a certain type of stillness, right? It's quiet, everyone is asleep, and you really, your mind gets to slow down and you really get to reflect on your thoughts. It's a perfect way to meditate and even journal your thoughts down. And through that practice, I'm able to really focus on the rest of the day. Okay, how am I going to get a 10 out of 10 day, right? And that's impacted me in such a good way, because that has allowed me to show up in other areas in my life with the same amount of intensity. Now I didn't always get up early, right? That's something I had to build. So if anyone who's interested in doing that, it's not something you're going to do overnight. It's going to take a very long time. I mean, it took me about a year or so to be able to master that.
Wow.
It's tough. It's tough. Yeah. But it's good. I mean, when you believe in your purpose, you have such a mission to change lives around the world. I mean, you're willing to do anything you have to.
Sure.
And waking up, when you have that thought process, waking up early won't be as hard anymore.
Nice. Yeah.
Right. And I want
Yes.
other people to be able to feel, I want other people to be able to take advantage of the time that we have here. Right. Not everyone, but a lot of people, they have that, I'll do it tomorrow mentality. And my mentality is, well, tomorrow's never promised, right? Like our goal is
Correct.
to show up today and do as much as we can today. How are you going to benefit all areas in your life today?
Yeah.
100%. Well, I have that unshakable mindset, and it's before dawn, but it's at 5:30, not at.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
He's unshakable for dual coast.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
awesome.
awesome, man.
Great, man.
And
Yeah.
I love the encouragement of telling people, you just all of a sudden don't start waking up at 4:30 or 4
Right.
a.m. And
Right.
get to the gym at 4:30. Yeah, it just I agree with that 100%, man. But I love that unshakable mindset. That's beautiful.
I appreciate it, Russ. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Excellent. Awesome. Dan, we've seen you speak a couple of times now, both in Missouri and A to B a couple of weeks ago,
Mhm.
actually up in Connecticut. And you have this incredible stage presence that with this intensity, and you want to, get this across to people, this intense desire.
Yeah.
What point in your own life would you say that you kind of turned that on? You had this idea to become a coach and this motivational speaker. Now, did you have a turning point in your own personal life where you said, hey, I want to do this. I need to teach people. I need to get my message across. What was that point in time for you where you said, hey, I got to do this. I got to turn this on. How do I do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, great question, Dan. It was actually a series of points. As I mentioned earlier, I saw what my mentors did for me,
Yeah.
and I wanted to. You're right. There was a point in time where I'm like, you know what? I should probably be able to, once I master this lifestyle, I should be able to teach that to other people, because I physically saw what it did for me. Right. And when you see something that works and you're like, man, you feel so good about it, and your confidence is up, your discipline is up, your energy is up. You want to be able to show other people how to do that. Now, when I started mentoring with my primary coach, or coaches, I have two of them, they work together. They have that savagery, that kind of like that Spartan mentality, right? That's, I joined their men's group. So through them, I kind of started to absorb that energy, right? And that relentlessness, by being surrounded by like-minded men, right? Which is why it's so important especially for men, to be surrounded with guys like that, because we keep each other sharp, right? They say iron sharpens iron. So by being surrounded by these guys, you start to absorb and really start to become this person.
Yep.
Right. And after I joined that group, I joined other mastermind groups as well, kind of similar energy. And that's basically how I built that energy myself, stage presence. Now, in terms of stages, it's just just watching people speak on stage over and over again. I would go to these networking events, and I would see these speakers just speak to the audience with such confidence and power, and their message, a lot of their messages resonated with me. And I'm thinking to myself, I'll never forget this. I was at my first networking event, and I was sitting all the way in the back row. I kind of had like the general admission ticket, so I was sitting all the way in the back. And I'm seeing speaker after speaker, and every speaker is better than the previous one. It's like, oh man, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And I remember the thought that I had. I'm like, you know what? I made a promise to myself. I said, one day I'm going to be on that stage. This was maybe, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, right? 5, 6 years ago. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know when I was going to do it, but something told me I was going to be on that stage.
You knew
one day, right? So, and my transition into the stage happened when I met Brandon, right? We both know Brandon Godoris.
Sure.
We actually met at a networking event. Okay. And I found out that he's from Connecticut. So we kept in touch. He invited me to a few of his events. And then I slowly started to notice that, oh, you know, he does public speaking. He could probably help me, you know, get into the, make that dream a reality, basically.
Right.
And that's pretty much what happened. You know, after that, you know, everything was history.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great, man.
Yeah. 100%.
Well, you just gave a shout out to Brandon Godoris. Is there anybody else you want to shout out to?
Yeah, I mean, Brandon, you know, Carl played a significant role in my life as well. Dylan Smith, right? If it wasn't for Dylan, I would have never met you guys.
Sure.
You know, so these are just a few of the guys who pretty much gave me a shot to speak on stage. When I was first starting my public speaking journey, not a lot of people gave me a chance, right? A lot of people said no. A lot of people, you know, for whatever reason, you know, maybe I didn't have enough experience or they didn't know who I was at the time. But the three guys who never said no to me was Brandon, Caro, and Dylan, right? They always believed in me and they always gave me a shot. And because of that, I'm finally in a position where I can motivate and inspire, not just on social media, right? Not just on a podcast, but actually live in person, because there's something magical when you have that person to person interaction, right?
Sure.
When you see someone on stage, it's different than just watching them on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
You know, so
yeah,
absolutely.
that's great.
Well,
Yeah.
you need an A in your life. You've got Brandon, you've got Carl, you've got Dylan, you got the BCD. We need an A in your life, man.
We need an A. Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
you are the A, even though your name is Dan.
Yeah. I got to change my name to Andy or something.
That's right. Hey, Russ Rogers.
Yeah.
Dude, man. Yeah. You know, it was last, what was it? We were in Springfield in what, September, I think.
Yeah.
And Springfield, Missouri. And that's, you know, Dan and Skoka and I were hanging out in the lobby, and you happened to be seated just a few feet away, and we were talking, and you're like, hey, are you guys going to the conference and, you know, have anything to do with it? And yeah. So then we just started chatting it up right there. And so that's how we met Dan in the lobby of the hotel.
That was fun.
And then, you know, we've been together just recently at A to B, and Dan, you know, spoke at Springfield, and he also spoke at A to B. And, you know, I kind of laughed, Dan, when you said intensity, because in my head I was thinking, yes, this guy is intense, and
He's
it's not
intense.
it's not his entire speaking and his entire presence, but then he gets these moments where he's just like, he just gives it to you, you know, and these powerful points, you know, and you could just feel what is inside of him, inside of you, not him, inside of you, Dan, that just, you know, wells up within you because you've got this passion, you know. Talk a little bit about your passion. Talk about what's inside of you that is just really driving you in changing these lives. Like, what's that inside?
Yeah, that's a great question, Russ. I like to first of all give a shout out to my parents and anyone who came before me. Right, I really believe that desire, that fire inside of you, whatever it is, for me especially, I believe is generational. I believe that I got that from my parents. Right, you guys were there when I shared a little bit about my parents' story about moving to, you know, the adversity they faced moving to this country when I was just a baby, and then they got that. Same fire from my grandparents, right? And that's a whole nother story. But I like to believe that every now and then, you know, you find someone extraordinary, someone who has, I call it the X factor, right? Someone who has that thing inside of them that they may not know what it is at the time. They may not always explain it or figure it out right away. But there's every now and then you meet like an extraordinary person, right? And you see three extraordinary people right now on the screen, 1, 2, 3. that it's funny. I always had this passion inside me, and I didn't know why or what it meant. And then as I started going down this rabbit hole of networking with people, reading books, and really kind of self-educating myself and building that personal development presence in me,
Right.
that's when I started to realize, okay, maybe I can use this desire, this passion into this, because this was something I was really, really passionate about.
Yeah.
I remember the first entrepreneurial book I was gifted. I was gifted this book. I believe it was for my birthday when I was 30 years old. Everything before 30 years old, I hated reading, because all I knew was just books, English books, math books, history books, was just school books. And I was just never a reader really growing up. I hated reading. But when I read this one book, I'm like, wow, I didn't know there were books like this out there. And that's really what created a snowball effect into, that one book turned into another and turned into another. That turned into podcast turned into online coaching, and then online coaching led into networking with people in person. So to be able to, finally figure out, okay, I'm passionate about this, that's a freaking home run, dude.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's a home run. And like I said, anyone who has that X factor, if you feel something like passion inside, if you feel like, let's say, for example, you're working a job you hate, you don't like, right? A lot of people do that.
Right.
And you're like, you know what? I have this calling that I should probably do something more with my life. Like, I don't know what it is. I can't explain it, but this doesn't feel right. I recommend to any person to really dive into that and start to really figure out what that could be, right? So you might need to pick up a book, you might need to watch a podcast, or you might need to attend a networking event to figure that out. But if your body and your mind and your heart is telling you something, then it's probably for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes me think about, Dan, like, talking about your past, even though you
Yeah.
mentioned your great grandparents, you mentioned, or your grandparents, you mentioned your
Mm-hmm.
parents, and and the impact that they had, and you following their lead. That's beautiful. But what it reminds me of is that everybody has a story, and
Right.
you have a story within you. Dan has a story within him. I have a story within me, and
Yeah.
it's something to be shared, and it's something that we need to give, and you're doing that, and I think that's that's an amazing thing, and your story is continuing to evolve, and
Correct.
that's the beautiful thing. You've got your pre-30s, and now you got your after 30s, even though you're 25, and he's been holding on to 25 for a while, right, Dan?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Yes.
But the story evolves, right? It just keeps marinating, it keeps going, and the journey,
Yeah.
and it just keeps happening, and relationships and networking and people coming into your lives and people exiting your lives, and those kinds of things that are
Mhm.
impactful.
Yeah.
So you've had people that have impacted your life, and continuing, and you're sharing your story. I love it.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, guys. It's definitely a great journey to be on. I'm honored to be here with you guys. Of
Oh, yeah.
Thanks
It's
so
amazing, man.
much.
It's great having you. Great having you. Thank you for being with us again.
course.
Dan, when you get on these stages, you have this presence and everything, like I said before, and you have a lot of people out there that you're trying to get a message across to. You want to convey this message of motivation, being relentless. You're a Mr. Relentless, if I am correct, right?
Correct. Yes.
That's right. So a lot of people out there that may be listening to you may have their, limiting beliefs or some negative self-talk to them where they say, hey, I'd love to be Danny Flores, but I can't be Danny Flores. That's just not me. I don't know how to get to that level. What would you say to those people? Like, how would you say in a couple of words, what's a good motivational speech? Those people who have those negative self-talk to themselves, or they have those limiting beliefs that they're not able to do it. What would you say to somebody like that?
Yeah. So the first thing I would say is that you're not me. The best way to look at it is to build the best version of you, right? Although we might have some similarities, anyone who's listening to this might want to be, hey, I want to do what Dan does. I want to get up early. I want to hit the gym. I want to eat right, etc. I rather you build the best you that you could build, right? Obviously, absorbing similar habits in order to do that. So what I would recommend to that person is I would create a list. I would first create a list of all the good habits they're doing and all the negative habits they're doing, right? Because just simply, I mean, I can tell a lot by a person on what time they wake up, right? I could tell a lot about a person on how hard they're hitting the gym, how they're eating, how they're treating, the people in their lives,
Yeah.
how they're showing up as a mom or dad, right? You can tell a lot by that person. So what I would say to that person is really start analyzing certain areas in your life, whether that's your fitness, your family, your relationships, how you think, your thought process. We talk about that limited mindset, right? So, and then from there, take away make a list for the positives and the negatives and start changing the negatives into positives. And that could be as simple as, hey, I'm going to get up an hour earlier, right? I'm going to go to bed an hour earlier. I'm going to put my phone down when I get home, so I can spend time with the kids, right? I'll put my phone on do not disturb for an hour so I can have an hour with the kids. We talked about earlier starting your day off right, building that energy to carry on throughout the entire day. So you wake up super early, you crush your workout, you feel good about yourself,
Yeah.
and then you go to work. You go to work with that positive energy, and then other people around you, whether you mean to or not, are most likely going to be able to absorb that energy too, right? I always say that if you have high frequency, other people will probably have high frequency with you. If you have low frequency, then other people are going to absorb that low frequency. So I don't want to be the reason why other people have low frequency. So it's like I put myself like I set the bar where, okay, I'm going to be as positive as I can, as motivating as I can. I'm going to show up like that everyone I meet, and in hopes that their energy goes up too, right?
Sure.
So yeah, I would recommend for anyone really just start taking inventory of your life. What are your strong points? What are your weak points? And how can we change those weak points? Do a little bit better with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Me and Russ always kind of say, you got to take one step first. So it's got
Yeah.
to be one thing first and then try to parlay on top of that, as opposed to trying to take on all this action and we always say you end up regressing when you try to take on too much. So it's always one thing at a
Right.
time, one
Yep.
step, and make a little bit of progress and progress and progress, and then just keep going from there.
100%. And over time, you'll get better at it, and you'll be able to put more load on yourself, right? But in the beginning, and this is why journaling in the morning is so important. This is a perfect time to do it, right?
Yeah.
Kids are sleeping, dog is sleeping, everyone, it's nice and quiet. And it's a great way, because the thing is that as we go throughout about our day, like our mind just races and races, and we never actually sit down and think about these things.
It's true.
The best time to do it is early in the morning. Just get up early right before you go to the gym, write some notes down. Hey, where do I want my life to be 5 years from now? What are some things I need to work on? And you just start making those little adjustments. Just make a list, 2, 3, 4 things, and then, work on that first, and then come up with another list and work on that. So
Yeah. That's awesome.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's so cool. One of the things that resonates with me this morning in this talk so far is is discipline, right?
Yeah.
And that resonates heavily with me. Now, not everybody is going to wake up super early like yourself to work out. Okay. And I would like to not talk about, your eating, or I want to talk about your peak performance, your mindset, but it is all related. But
Right.
physically working out, which I relate to, right? And I know Dan, we're all doing our things, but what part does that play into your overall everyday outlook on life, starting your day out in the gym?
Right. So, and this is one of my favorite reasons why I work out in the morning, right? We talked about setting that tone. So let's talk about the benefits that fitness has for you, just the benefits alone. All right. There's obviously the physical side, right? You get to look good, feel good. You build that confidence inside yourself, right? I don't care who you are. Like I'm pretty sure most people would want a 6-pack. No one would complain about that, right? We just want to look good. We want to be able to look in the mirror and feel proud of ourselves. Like no one ever wants to look in the mirror and be like, damn, screw that. I don't like what I see. Like nobody wants to feel that way. I can't imagine a single person in this world wanting to look in the mirror and just hating what they see, right? So we all want to be able to physically see the aesthetics, right? See the hard work behind it. And the thing about discipline is that you can't lie about the result in the gym, right? You're either in good shape or you're not. A lot of people lie about a lot of stuff, right? The cars they drive, the money they make, the connections they have, the girls they date, right? But the one thing you cannot lie about is having a good body, right? You either are or you're not. Okay. So that's the physical side. Now let's talk about more like the internal healthy mental side. Okay. it boosts your immune system. Okay. Your hormones get boosted as well, right? It releases these, those reward stimulus serotonin, oxycodone, and just those endorphins, right? And that's what brings your mood up and makes you feel good. So that's that setting the tone thing, right? And then that carries you out through the entire day. And your overall health gets better. Obviously, if we talk about like the anatomy, muscles get stronger, bones get denser, right? So, and it's very important because as we get older, right? A lot of, when we're young, we don't really think about this, but as we get older, it's actually more important to work out because you start losing muscle mass and your bones start getting more fragile.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend it, as it's more important as you get older, the more you do it, you know? Yeah. So it's just overall, it's a credit. And then, let's talk about the mindset side, right? If you're able to get up, early in the morning, whatever time that is, it doesn't have to be as early as me, but whatever time that is for you, or get up early in the morning when you don't want to, you're comfortable in bed. It might be cold out. Yeah. It might be snowing where you're at. Like, nobody wants to get out from the comfort of their bed and
Right.
go and do that, right? There's times where I don't want to do it, but to be able to constantly fight that negative voice, constantly fight that negative feeling, like you're going to do it no matter what, you're going to stay true and you're going to keep your word, you're going to be a man of your word. Get up, go to the gym, crush your workout, go in a cold plunge or whatever it is. Like, there's no better victory than that.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes on your intensity and your passion for improving your own life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what's relatable to that is something you said as well. Do not disturb.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, how often do we put that sign up for ourselves, right? You just
Right.
go, whether you're on your device or whatever, and you're not taking time for yourself, you're not taking time for your kids, you're not taking time for your family. Those are things that you have to do. So, my advice to people is just what Dan said, is do not disturb. Put that on for whatever it is that you need to focus on daily. Daily.
Yep.
That's a beautiful message.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolute truth. Sometimes you have to do that. Step away for a little bit. Do things for yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I've been using do not disturb a lot lately, just because I'll be working on a certain project, or I'm on a call with someone, and I'll just put the do not disturb frequently. I've been using it a lot lately.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So and you get more stuff done. You don't have to. You get a text message and you kind of want to check who that is, but
Sure.
You put do not disturb, you already know it's there.
For sure, man. Absolutely.
So
everybody's always very quick to run to the devices. We've talked about that a few times, like in the house and stuff like that. It's very easy to get distracted, scrolling and grab your phone. It's right here. I have mine right in front of me. We're on the computer right now. It's very easy to get distracted from any task that you're trying to complete, because your distraction is right next to you at all times. From a technology standpoint, you have to be able to have that self-discipline in order to look at that. And that comes into a lot of what you preach or what you say. On the stage,
100%.
like that. A lot of it has to do with self-discipline, and it's not just a category of being in the gym and working out and everything like that. It's everything, having discipline in all areas of life. Yeah,
absolutely, 100% agree.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. I'm gonna just piggyback real quick, Dan, on something you said before. You have a lot of coaching clients, absolutely, online for lifestyle standpoint, but you also have a lot of fitness clients simultaneously. In the gym and stuff like that, who are you training and everything. Do you have any specific client success stories that you'd like to share with us? Somebody who's actually had a mega breakthrough in the gym, or somebody who's had a big weight loss journey, or a client success story that you feel passionate about? Yeah.
So I actually, one person that comes to mind, this is the person that, where I trade at the gym. She's an older lady, maybe about, in her 50s or so. And I remember when she first started, she didn't really have a lot of experience at the gym, right? So she was a little timid. They didn't really know how to use the machines, this and that. I mean, her confidence wasn't there, right? So with her, I kind of had to do start with baby steps. All right. So we started lightweight. We started with dumbbells, just get her confidence in. I really wanted to get her out in the floor too, because when you work out with clients on the floor, it's they get used to being out there. They get used to people being around them, and you get to coach them a little bit on certain things. And I probably had her, I think I had her for about 2 months or so. So it wasn't that long, right? But constantly holding her accountable, checking in on her, making sure that I'm with her at the gym, and making sure that we're checking out her form, and she knows how to use the machines, and she knows how much weight and how many reps and how many sets, right? Those that's a big thing for a lot of people, because a lot of people go into the gym, they don't know what they're doing, right?
Sure.
So when you're there coaching them in person, right, we talked about that in-person connection, right? So what ended up happening was I actually saw her confidence go up a little bit, and now she's experimenting on her own at the gym. She's losing weight at the same time, but I think the biggest change for her was her confidence, dude. Like she's like, yeah, this machine wasn't available, so I went to use this machine, and it was great. And I'm doing my own thing, and I'm at work too. Every now and then at work, I'll just do some squats and this and that. And I'm looking at her, I'm like, don't people at work, like at the office, do they look at you weird, or what's going on? But no, she has her own closed wall office. So she does that.
Sure.
But her confidence, her energy level, like she's so like she wants to just keep going, and she's like, no, one more set, or one more rep, or 3 more reps, whatever it is. So to be able to see that shift in mindset and confidence, it's a huge change. And obviously that's going to carry into the weight loss as well, right? Because the more confident you are, the more you do, the more energy you put in, the more work you put in, the more weight you're going to lose.
Sure. It's great.
That's
man.
awesome.
Yeah,
man.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I love
Great.
that.
Definitely.
You mentioned a while ago about 5-year plan. For people in their lives. A 1-year plan. You in your peak performance. Give us a 5-year plan for you.
Yeah. So for me, my 5-year plan is to obviously to continue building my online coaching program. Right. I want to get it to a few hundred people within that program. I envision my program as a place where I get to travel, speak on stage, promote my program, and just be able to change lives, not just obviously around me, but people who don't even may not even live in this country. I mean, who knows, right? Just people who are visiting. But my vision is, moving to a place where it's nice and tropical, not northeast. No offense, Dan, you might want to stay here, but I actually hate the northeast. I just hate dealing with the snow.
I'm not blaming you here.
Right. So if I look out 5 years from now, tropical, office in a tropical spot, I got a good sales team. We're changing lives. We're hitting it. I mean, we're bringing people nonstop into our program. We're changing lives. We're doing masterminds. I kind of maybe bring them on stage, and then they do like their testimonials and stuff like that. So for me, it's not really, it's not just a program where, you log in every now and then and that's it. Like for me, it's like, it's like a brotherhood, right?
Yeah.
It's like once I'm in your life, it's like I'm in your life like permanently, right? We're gonna go through this journey together. And obviously my family will be there, right? If I move, I'm obviously gonna take my parents with me. Wife and kids will be with me. And we really get to excel on all areas. I just have this vision where my family is traveling with me. My family is going to networking events with me. One guy that I really admire is Andy Elliott, right? He does that with his family. His wife, he's partnering up with his wife to build his empire. His kids are there too, going to networking events. So that's the type of life that I envisioned for myself and for the people around me.
It's awesome.
That's
man.
awesome, man.
Yeah. 100%, dude.
That's the life
100%.
I envision also.
Yeah.
I know. And, our buddy Chris Rushing, that's definitely in his mindset as well.
That's his. Oh, for sure.
He's like, get me out of here.
That's it.
Yeah.
I want to live on the beach.
I know.
Says, how's it in paradise, Russ?
Yeah. So I actually got a few things coming up this year. I'm working on a book with Carl Michelle.
Nice.
We're working on, so I'll be writing my first book. I'll be releasing my own podcast later this year as well.
Nice.
So there's a lot of cool things coming up.
That's great, man.
For sure.
Congratulations on both of those.
That's great. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right. Nice, man. I'll just hit you hard on top of that, Dan.
Yep.
Everything you just said, pretty much. What legacy do you want to leave in this space? What legacy? Yeah. I love that question, so I ask it.
Yeah. Legacy. I want my message to transcend my lifetime here. And I always say, right, build a message that will change lives not yet born. Okay. I want to be able to leave behind knowledge and foresight and just tools for people to use, right? And I like to, obviously the past few years hasn't been great for our country, right? Hopefully that will change soon. But we've been through a lot of ups and downs. But one thing that has really bothered me is like if we use, for example, the way men are nowadays. A lot of men nowadays are weak, especially in the earlier generations. Like men are showing up weak. They're not confident. They're not showing up with that fire, that drive. And for me, it's like all men deserve to be elite. They just need a certain strategy and they need a roadmap to get to that point, right? So it's my job. If we take a look at the average male as an example, it's my job to really raise that person's standards up and make sure they live a fruitful life, a life that they can be proud of. So I'm not just building a life that I could be proud of. I want other people to build lives they could be proud of too. So I would say my legacy is to help other people figure out what their legacy is. Obviously, through this journey of personal development and growth, we're going to end up doing this together.
Yeah, that was an amazing answer, man. Like, incredible answer. Very powerful.
Of course. Yeah,
Russ,
thank you.
that stage presence right here to Dual Coast.
These questions are not preset and given to Dan in advance. So man,
They are not.
Just
they are
coming
not.
off the cuff, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go.
How many kids do you have?
I don't have any kids right now, but
you don't have any kids. Oh, okay.
Right. But obviously I am, I want to be a dad one day, so it will happen. And you guys will probably be the uncles or godfathers, whatever it is you guys want to be.
Absolutely.
You want to trust him? You want to trust him?
I would not trust me either. You can trust Russ,
Right.
Agreed.
That's funny.
Agreed.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Do you want to share a little bit about what the book is about?
Yeah, so we're literally in the very early stages of it. Obviously the book is going to be tied. It's going to be more of a personal development book, right? There's going to be like a kind of like a relentless theme to it.
Nice.
But we're so much in the early stages of it that we have to put the chapters together and come up with a title and this and that. So we're very, very early in the early stages of it.
Love it, man.
Love it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
There's a lot of people out there that and we go back to in their story that I run into people all the time, because I'm an author. I run into people all the time that know or that learn that I'm an author, and they're like, oh, I want to write a book, or you know what I mean? And it's like, it's a process, and to encourage people to do that, because a lot of people want to do it and they may get started, but they don't finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. What can you encourage people on with that as you're starting this journey on being an author and a writer?
Yeah, I encourage people to do, because I'm gonna be really transparent here. I never wrote a book before. I don't know what the processes are. I don't know what the contacts or who I need to connect for publishers. Obviously, to figure that out on your own would be extremely a bit of a headache, right? It's gonna be a lot of work. So thankfully for me, someone that I'm very close with in my network actually has gone down the author and publishing road, right? So my advice to people is find someone who has done this already and see if they can work with you. Maybe they have a book writing mastermind or something like that, or they have some type of connections they can connect you with, right? Maybe you write a book, but you don't have a publisher. So you start contacting maybe authors, hey, I have this book. I have no one who can edit it. I have no one who can publish it. Like, can you give me some references so I can go ahead and do that? So, and I use this analogy for pretty much all areas in life. A lot of us tend to think that we have to do this journey on our own, right? But here's the thing: anyone who has ever built anything worth having never did it by themselves, right? No matter what point in time, whether it's history or future, no one will ever do it on their own. They either do it through collaboration or delegations or some form. But if you want to build something, and we'll take something as simple as a book, why do it by yourself? Start, connecting with other people. So for me, I connected with Carl. Carl's my connector, right? He's going to help me write this book. Someone who is already a best-selling author, someone who has gone down the writing, editing, publishing stage. He's going to be able to help me out with that.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great.
Absolutely.
Congratulations. Even though you're on the beginning stages, it's an accomplishment. So great job on that and your work and your future podcast. And
incredible, man.
I know Dan wants to hit us hard with that last question of the day.
we're going to land the plane here, Dan. But, we
Go
close
ahead.
every show out with a specific statement, and we always ask our guests what they think of the statement. So I'm going to close it out with
Okay.
you today, and we're going to ask you what you
Sure.
think of it. So we close every show out with the statement that wellness is not perfection, or not about perfection, but progress. What do you think
Right.
about that statement?
Yeah, I would say that if you think about if you aim for perfection, you're gonna assume that there's no other step after that. You're gonna think, okay, the job is done. But we have the mindset of progression, like the journey is never over. We could always seek improvement. We could always grow. We could always learn. We could always network.
Sure.
That to me would be a better growth journey than thinking, okay, I'm just gonna get to this point. Life is perfect, and then I'm just gonna wash my hands and ride off in the sunset. I don't know about anyone that's watching this, but I never want to stop growing. I never want to stop learning. Like I never want to be the smartest person in the room.
Yeah,
Right. So I always want to progress, because the more I progress, the more I can teach others to progress as well.
for sure.
Right. Can you imagine just, okay, boom, I hit the wall, I'm done. The person behind me, boom, they hit the wall, they're done.
No.
We talked about legacy earlier, right? You don't build a legacy that way. You build a legacy by constantly growing.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Danny Flores, thank you so much for being with
beautiful.
us today, man.
That's awesome.
Love you
Great
guys.
words
Thank you
today,
so
my
much.
friend.
Thank you too,
Great
man.
words
Yeah,
today.
that was amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank
man.
you.
Thank
History in the making, man. History in the making.
Absolutely. Dan, where can everybody find you? Where can everybody find you? What's your social media? Tell everybody real quick.
Yeah, so the best way to find me is on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Dan Flores Lifestyle. Dan Flores, Flores Lifestyle. Facebook is just Dan Flores. TikTok is also Dan Flores Lifestyle. And then my website is danfloreslifestyle.com.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you so much
absolutely.
for being with us, man.
No, thank you for having me, guys. It was
This
a
has been
pleasure.
powerful. It's been
Absolutely,
impacting. It's just your words today heavily encouraging people, to transform their lives, to reach peak performance, to step out in their journey, and to continue to strive. And you don't have to be intense, but you can be passionate and making sure that every day that you're not only lifting yourself up but lifting other people up. I love your words of advice today.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you so
Absolute
much.
pleasure, man. Thank you
Thanks,
again for
Dan.
being with us.